여러분 안녕하세요. 대한민국 영어 감잡기 프로젝트 데미안으로 하는 너쉬영북 6강 리딩입니다. 23쪽 블루하고 핑크로 표시된 부분부터예요. 이번 6강에서는 모든 주어와 동사를 표시해 보았습니다. 들어갑니다. I couldn't even get upstairs. My life was wrecked. I thought of running away and never coming back, or of drowning myself. However, I couldn't picture any of this very clearly. In the dark, I sat down on the bottom step of our staircase, huddled up within myself, abandoning myself to misery. That's where Lena found me, weeping as she came downstairs with the basket to fetch wood. I begged her not to say a word. Then I went upstairs. To the right of the glass door hung my father's hat and my mother's parasol. They gave me a feeling of home and comfort, and my heart greeted them thankfully, as the prodigal son might greet the sight and the smell of old familiar rooms. But all of it was lost to me now. All of it belonged to the clear, well-lighted world of my father and mother, and I, guilty and deeply engulfed in an alien world, was entangled in adventures and sin, threatened by an enemy, by dangers, fear, and shame. The hat and parasol, the old sandstone floor I was so fond of, the broad picture above the hall cupboard, the voice of my elder sister coming to me from the living room, were all more moving, more precious, more delicious than ever before, but they had ceased to be a refuge and something I could rely on. They had become an unmistakable reproach. None of this was mine anymore. I could no longer take part in its quiet cheerfulness. My feet had become muddied. I could not even wipe them clean on the mat. Everywhere I went, I was followed by a darkness of which this world of home knew nothing. How many secrets I had had, how often I had been afraid, but all of it had been child's play compared with what I brought home with me today. I was haunted by misfortune. It was reaching out toward me so that not even my mother could protect me, since she was not even allowed to know. Whether my crime was stealing or lying, hadn't I sworn a false oath by God, and everything that was sacred was immaterial. My sin was not specifically this or that, but consisted of having shaken hands with the devil. Why had I gone along? Why had I obeyed Cromer better even than I had ever obeyed my father? Why had I invented a story, building myself up with a crime as though it were a heroic act? The devil held me in his clutches. The enemy was behind me. For the time being, I was not so much afraid of what would happen tomorrow as of the horrible certainty that my way from now on would lead farther and farther downhill into darkness. I felt acutely that new offenses were bound to grow out of this one offense, that my presence among my sisters, greeting and kissing my parents, were a lie, that I was a living lie, concealed deep inside myself. For a moment, hope and confidence flickered up inside me as I gazed at my father's hat. I would tell him everything, would accept his verdict and his punishment, and would make him into my confessor and savior. It would only be a penance, the kind I had often done, a bitterly difficult hour, a ruefully difficult request for forgiveness. How sweet and tempting that sounded, but it was no use. I knew I wouldn't do it. I knew I now had a secret, a sin which I would have to expiate alone. Perhaps I stood at the parting of the ways. Perhaps I would now belong among the wicked forever, share their secrets, depend on them, obey them, have to become one of their kind. I had acted the man and hero. Now I had to bear the consequences. 자, 오늘은 여기까지입니다. 오늘 영상이 여러분이 영어의 감을 잡는 데 도움이 된다면 구독, 좋아요로 알려주세요. 더 좋은 영상을 만드는데 큰 힘이 될 것입니다. 여러분 감사합니다.